The best advice that I can give to any of you that have online trolls, or you believe, uh, and I'm not saying that it's not happening. I know things like this happen, whether it's Zetsung, and if you don't know what Zetsung means, look it up. Zerzet, and I think it's Zung. Zetsung, before they brought down the Berlin Wall, there was East Germany, West Germany, the counterintelligence program. Because in order to be able to do experiments on the mind of humans, they have to experiment on humans. And humans really don't want to be experimented on. And so they're not going to comply. And so the FBI, CIA, when they do their programs, they're going to need to experiment on human subjects. And I learned this when I was going to my psychology degree from the University of Texas from 92 to 96. You have to be sure that whoever you're studying isn't aware that they're being studied. Otherwise, it's going to screw up the findings. Your findings, your results, or your research are not going to be relevant because you don't have a proper control. Because if someone realizes that they're being observed, they're going to change their behavior as a result of that. You see, and of course, if you want to go on the dark side, you can say, okay, well then we can manipulate someone, because if we see that there's a trend here, that people, if we treat people this way, that they'll act, or they'll react in this other way, then we can be able to treat people in a certain way, and we can be pretty sure that all people will react the other way. Wrong. We, like our fingerprints, are one of a kind. People do not react the same way to stimuli. Now, if it's physical stimuli, say for example, there's an oven, or a stovetop, right? And you put your hand on the stovetop and it's red hot. Well, we're all going to react the same way. We're going to touch it and go like, wow, that's hot. That's hot. But when it comes to the mind, when it comes to things that does not involve the physical body, when it comes to the mind, you never really know how a person's going to react to that. And so what I wanted to point out to you is to just let you know that the best way to describe it is someone that works as a coroner. Someone that works as a coroner, or someone that works in a funeral home, where in the beginning it's really kind of creepy, or someone works in the emergency room of a hospital, and it's really creepy to see someone bleeding to death, or to see just a bunch of dead bodies everywhere, right? That's something just kind of weird and creepy, and unless you're a dark soul, you're just really not into shit like that, right? But you get used to it. You get used to it. As time goes by, you get used to seeing dead bodies. If you work in an emergency room of a hospital, you get used to seeing people bleeding to death. You get used to people coming in there almost dead. You get used to blood-curdling screams. You get used to those things. You get used to it. You get numb to it. And so what I can tell you is, if you're a victim of what you call gangstalking or organized harassment or anything like that, I can tell you, because I'm living proof. You get numb to it. After so many years, for me it was just so many months, after so many months and then so many years of people trying to just fuck with my mind, or through fear and intimidation tactics, or through distraction campaigns, or to try to get me angry so that I will lash out and get myself in trouble with the law, whatever it may be, or to try to get me to cheat on my wife, or to do any means of nonsense. I'm numb to all that shit. You understand? You get used to it, and when you get used to it, you kill it, and you kill it by ignoring it, and then you go from ignoring it to not even being aware that anything's happening anymore, because you're not paying attention to it. And when you start habitually not paying attention to someone, eventually they just really don't exist in your life, even though they may be standing right next to you. And so I want to give you the encouragement of keep wasting their time. It's working. That's why I say that. There's so many dozens of different reasons of why I say that, and all of them are valid scientific and psychological, psychosocial, psychosomatic points. Okay, I know whatever I speak, and I know the human mind. And if there's anyone that's a cerebral, I would say, that has an astute knowledge of the full gravity of cerebral manipulation, you're listening to that guy. That's me. I am not corrupt, and I am not evil. So therefore, I don't manipulate anyone's minds. But I did do the research to figure out how to do it so that I can't have that shit done to me. You understand? And I learned that way back. I'm talking about this was in 1992, 93, 94, 95, 96. I've always been fascinated with the human mind, and that's how come I'm able to give you these kinds of answers to be able to help you out. If what they call street theater, if they see someone arguing with another person, or someone, maybe you're black and someone is calling you a nigger under their breath, right? Or you're white and some black guy is calling you a cracker, but they're not making eye contact with you, and they're saying it under your breath as they pass by you, and of course it's going to offend you, right? Well, to avoid those kinds of things, you can just simply wear earbuds. You wear the earbuds, and listen to your music, or not listen to anything at all, but you have them on, and you destroy that stimuli. They can no longer be able to affect your sense of hearing, or they cannot perceive that they can affect your sense of hearing, even though they may not be listening to anything at all, because they see that you have earbuds on. You see? So you just killed that. Now, I realize that the behavior of people like this is psychopathy. These are psychopaths, sociopaths. And psychopath and sociopathy is very similar, and it's just people that are basically insane. They're sadists, or maybe sadomasochists, and they're not really sane. And that's according to scientific research that was done by actual psychiatrists. And in fact, let me go ahead and show you that. Now, this is according to Quora.com. Younger psychopaths are more likely to troll online due to the anonymity of the internet, and also they're in a safe position to cause mayhem without any direct effect on themselves. They may also consider it a fun activity, seeing how people react and give them a sort of feeling of power and having control of how others act due to their actions. Now, if you go to Psychology Today, this is an actual publication of psychiatrists. These are people that went to school for 12 years to learn the mind. These are not conspiracy theorists. These are people that know what they're talking about. Internet trolls are narcissists, psychopaths, and sadists. It could be in the video game. It could be in Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. It could be anywhere. Reddit, 4chan, wherever it is that you go. And it says internet trolls are narcissists, psychopaths, and sadists. Trolls will lie, exaggerate, and offend just to get a response. Now, this is from www.psychologytoday.com. Okay, not from Alex Jones. Okay, now you go to the independent.co.uk. Online trolls are psychopaths and sadists. Canadian researchers have confirmed what most people suspected all along, that internet trolls are archetypal Machiavellian sadists. Online trolls are psychopaths and sadists, and psychologists assert these claims. You go to Time magazine. You can trust Time, can't you? You go to time.com. It says internet trolls are sadists and psychopaths. The YouTube comment section is known as a special circle of hell, and that might be because the people leaving provocative comments are literally sadists and psychopaths. A new study entitled, this is author Kyle Shaker. Now check this out. This is from Time magazine. Okay? And it has a picture of a troll face, right? And it says, actually, I am a psychopath. Now, there is a study entitled Trolls Just Want to Have Fun. And the Canadian psychologists Aaron Buckles, Paul Trapnell, and Delroy Paulhouse set up a survey of personality inventories matched with internet commenting styles. In other words, they attempted to psychoanalyze commenters, which should be cause for a Nobel Prize and hazard pay in itself. What came from the study will likely surprise no one. People who like to troll are also likely to show signs of sadism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. These two character flaws make up the ominous dark triad of personality. Sadism means delighting in the harm of others. Psychopathy is an antisocial personality disorder. And Machiavellianism means a person's tendency to be unemotional and deceitful. And trolls seem to have all three on lock. So these people are insane. Okay? Of course, and your government likes to hire insane people. And you don't have to look very far to see proof of that. You can just go to the White House and you'll see a whole bunch of psychopaths in there. And not just this administration, everyone that's ever happened before it. Now, of course, the internet has a tendency to turn people into sadists as a result of its anonymity. Now, this was enshrined by the online disinhibition effect that leads us to treat other people online as less than human. Okay. Now, the common explanation, I guess, or the excuse that online trolls are what you would call gang stalkers or whatever. There's really no such thing as gang stalkers. What it is that you have a group of psychopaths that are demonically possessed. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, they have a psychopath is a person that has the demon of psychopathy inside of them. A psychopath is incurable, and it's a sign of demonic possession. It really is. Because you don't see any psychopaths doing good works. When's the last time you've seen a psychopath, create a foundation to feed the poor? Okay? You never. Psychopaths murder, like the Ted Bundy, guys like that, Charles Manson. Okay? Psychopaths is a form of demonic possession. Okay, if you want to get into the Judeo-Christian narrative, or even into Eastern mysticism, or even Islam, in the Hindi religion, they all tell you the same thing. All of these religions, it's not just Christianity, any religion will tell you the same thing. That people that exhibit signs of psychopathy, or antisocial behavior, or sadism, where they take delight in causing pain on complete strangers, that people like that are possessed by demons. That's across the board in any religion that you look at in the world. Not merely Christianity. Every religion believes that. Whether it's Judaism, but Judaism is where it came from. So the Jews believe this. Okay, because this is pre-Christianity. The Hindi religion as well, with Islam as well. They call them jinn, D-J-I-N-N, the devils, the jinn. And that's what you're dealing with, is that the fact that you are not demonic, and therefore people that are demonic, meaning demonically possessed, that they have demons inside of them, whether it's through generational curses or whether it's through mistakes that they made in their life that they did not own up to, and they didn't fix those mistakes, and continue to turn those mistakes into habitual mistakes, and then you wind up becoming demonically possessed. And so what happened is that the demons are taking control of the human, and it's the demons that enjoy causing pain. It's the demons in the person, the demons inside the human being. The human being is just a host. It's not so much that Charles Manson was a psychopath. It wasn't so much that Ted Bundy enjoyed shooting women. It was the demons inside Ted Bundy that enjoyed shooting women. It was the demons inside Charles Manson that caused him to create the family and go and slaughter Sharon Tate. You understand? It was the demons inside those people. I'm not saying that they're blameless. Oh, they're absolutely blameless, because you're not going to have demons inside of you unless you're a really screwed up person, or you come from a screwed up family and you picked up generational curses. Okay, so I'm not justifying this at all. What I'm simply saying is that these two main reasons, or two main points I'm trying to make here with this particular presentation, is number one, that there is scientific proof that online trolls and people that exhibit sadist behaviors towards strangers, which would be you, whether it's in a grocery store, whether it's on the internet, that they are psychopaths, and that is a scientific fact. Now, your government likes to hire people like that. They like to hire people like that as police officers. They like to hire people like that as federal agents, because they will have no problem shooting whoever they're told to shoot and killing them. They have no problem arresting whoever they're told to arrest. Okay? We all know that there is police corruption, really, just in every police department that exists in every town, in every county, in every state, in all 40 contiguous states in the United States of America, and all over the world, in fact. That's just the way that it is. When you have the opportunity to be able to wield a badge and get a gun and have the authority with that badge to be able to shoot people, well, that kind of power is going to attract psychopaths. It's going to attract people that are murderous, psychopathic individuals. Now, a lot of them will get caught in the process. In other words, at the academy, they'll be caught, and no one will, they won't be able to get their badge. They won't be able to get a graduate from the academy, because they'll exhibit those tendencies. But you do have the Ted Bundys of the world, okay, that are extremely clever and cunning, and are able to fool people into thinking they're sane when they're not at all. Okay? And those type of people are really valued by your government. Those are the people they make president. Those are the people that they put in charge of a bank. Those are the people that they put in charge of your church. You understand? Those are the people that they make police chief or director of the FBI. Those are the people that are very, very valuable to your government and to your corporations. People that can look at you with an angelic expression and lie right to your face. And not only that, but be able to smile at you while they're plotting to murder you. And Ted Bundy, Charles Manson type people prosper in the government and in the military of the United States of America. And that shows you how corrupt and how depraved our nation has become because of greed. Because your corporations are psychopaths, are run by psychopaths, and all they care about is the bottom line. They want to turn a profit, and they want to maximize their profits, and they don't care who has to die or who has to get raped or who has to get destroyed in order for them to maximize their profits. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so that's how they perceive life. And you are a resource. That's why when you go to work or you go to apply for a job, or you turn in a resume, you have to go to HR. HR stands for what? Human resources. You're a resource. You're a resource like water or oil or gasoline or a piece of wood or steel. You're a resource. You're not a person. Human resources. You're a resource like a battery. You understand? That's how they perceive you. You're not perceived as a living, breathing, conscious entity. You're perceived as a fucking resource. Okay? And that is a result of the corrupt system that you have here that is running amok throughout America, and really, in fact, throughout all the westernized world. And it's gotten the East, too. You see, China's been completely corrupted by this as well. And so what I wanted to do is I just wanted to bring you some peace of mind to letting you know that when you run across people like that they're psychopaths and sociopaths, and whether they're harassing you or you think they may be vandalizing or burglarizing your things when you're away at work, or maybe when you're asleep, I wanted to give you comfort that, number one, your suspicions are correct and that these people are not sane, number one. And number two, that you get used to their behavior. The human mind is an amazing thing. It doesn't really matter how crazy it is, something that you see. Like as I explained before, with the example of the emergency room, you see people coming in there bleeding to death. You see people coming in there missing an arm, or they got shot, and they're bleeding all over the place, and they're screaming, because it hurts to get shot. And it's kind of shocking, you know what I mean? You get kind of shocked and a little bit traumatized. You see that the first day of work there, but you get used to it. And as the weeks and the months go by, you're just used to seeing stuff like that. or if you work in a funeral home, or as a coroner, or as assistant to a coroner, you see a lot of dead bodies. And it's a very weird, macabre thing. It's not delightful unless you're a weirdo. But as time goes by, you get used to seeing dead bodies, and it's just doesn't mean anything anymore. Likewise, when someone tries to manipulate your mind or tries to use fear and intimidation tactics on you, I can tell you firsthand, because I'm living it, I've lived it. As time goes by, the fear and intimidation tactics are ridiculous. You end up having no fear because you see that everything that they threaten they were going to do you never happens. And you start to come from a position of authority and a position of power, and you realize that these people, number one, are just full of shit, and then number two, you begin to just become immune to whatever tactics that they're trying to use to get your attention or to try to manipulate you in some kind of way, and through subliminal subversive means. You simply will ignore them. And as I said before, I told you this many, many years ago, you can start off by putting on sunglasses where they cannot be able to see your eyes. Wear them indoors, wear them in the grocery store. Your sunglasses dark enough to where no one can be able to see your eyes, like the Secret Service. Why do you think they do that? Okay? So that bad guys or anyone in general can't see their eyes, can't see where they're looking. That's a brilliant tactic to use. Okay, and I'd love to say that I created that tactic, but Secret Service did, but I didn't get it from them. I just did it myself because I realized a long, long time ago that if I have sunglasses on, people can't see what I'm looking at. Now, I didn't use that because of I thought someone was after me or anything. The reason I did that was actually a different reason. In my 20s, long, long time ago, I would wear sunglasses indoors and sunglasses everywhere. And I would put my contact lenses on because I wanted to be able to look at a pretty girl, and I didn't want her to realize that I was looking at her. So I would look one direction, but I'd be turning my eyes towards that girl. So when she would look my direction, she would see that my face was facing opposite of where she was at, so she wouldn't realize I was checking her out. So that's where that idea came from, and I decided to. It was quite effective, and so I decided to use that regarding everything. I don't want people to see what I'm looking at, and so I put on sunglasses. And if I hear someone being real toxic, not towards me, but towards anyone, I hear a lot of arguments, boy. I mean, you hear customers coming in and just arguing with clerks, especially at places like Walmart, and it's real, real toxic and almost like they're violent. I mean, it's real weird. It's real weird how people are getting violently angry nowadays, and then are losing control of their emotions, and I can't help but think that there's something to that has to do with these cell phones, has to do with these cell towers, has to do with all these frequencies flying around, has to do with all of this digital stuff, all these invisible frequencies flying around. I think it's screwing up people's minds, and of course they're not aware of it, so of course they're going to be victims of it. I'm aware of it, so I'm able to tell. I can feel when there's something going on that's there's a discord, and so I pray, and it works every time. I pray, and I read the Bible. I talk to God. Man, it's only about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, if even that, just a couple minutes, and boy, I feel great again. I don't feel distracted. I don't feel a spirit of heaviness. I don't feel any kind of confusion or any kind of disarray or lightheaded or anything. I feel great. And so I suggest you pray. So if you believe that, if any of you listening, if you believe that someone's trying to screw with your mind or screw with your head or try to use fear and intimidation tactics on you or just try to whatever, just ignore those assholes. And it takes practice, so start now. And the more that you start to ignore toxic people and their toxicity and people that quite frankly you shouldn't be paying attention to. I mean, most of these people are strangers, right? What the hell are you doing paying attention to a stranger? They don't matter. You can pray for them or whatever, and you move on with your life. You got shit to do. You know what I mean? And paying attention to a stranger is not on that list of shit to do for that day, right? So don't do that. Don't do that to yourself anymore. Don't entertain demons, okay? Don't entertain demons or psychopathic people or sadists. Don't entertain toxic people. You ignore people like that. Don't entertain narcissists, because that's really what it is. The people that are messing with you are demonically possessed psychopathic narcissists. That's what they are. They have problems. They have mental problems that are severe, and they need help. And of course, they're probably never going to receive it. They're going to wind up getting themselves locked up or killed eventually, because they're going to, wind up offending someone, that's might kill them, or they're going to do something that's going to get them in trouble with the law because they're not sane. And so people like that need your prayers. And I understand you may not like them because they're like, oh, well, they said horrible things about me or slandered me, or they, just acting nuts and following me around the grocery store or whatever. It doesn't matter. You pray for them anyway, because they're pardon my language, but they're fucked up. You understand? And you're not. You understand? And they're gonna. And the number one thing that people that are psychopaths like to accuse sane people of is psychopaths love to accuse the sane that they're crazy. Okay? And so you'll see a group of psychopaths on the internet, online trolls, saying that you need to shrink, or that whoever, maybe Alex Jones or David Icke needs to go see a shrink, or they're crazy or they're insane, when in actuality they're the ones that are nuts. You see what I'm saying? People like to accuse others of what they are. Liars like to accuse people that tell the truth of being liars. Evil people like to accuse good people of being evil. You read in the Bible that the scribes and Pharisees accused Jesus Christ of being possessed by demons, and that he cast out devils with the help of the prince of devils. Now, why'd they make that accusation? Because they were demon possessed. They accused him of what they are. And so don't fall for these tactics, and have the comfort of knowing that eventually you're going to get used to all that stuff, and it's not going to bother you anymore. And as time goes by, you're just not even going to be, you're going to ignore it. And then you're going to eventually get to the point to where I'm at now, where you're not even aware that they exist. You're not even aware that they're around you anymore. You're not hyper-sensualized anymore. You know what I mean? That's what they're trying to do. They hypersensitize you to where every little thing, you want to already go ahead and think that's part of some kind of grand conspiracy. Don't believe that nonsense. Everything is a part of a grand plan, according to the Lord, according to God. Absolutely. But there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens because God wants it to happen. That is a fact. But just live your life in comfort, and understand that anything and everything that you go through your life, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, if it's consistently happening in your life, eventually you get used to it, and it won't bother you anymore. And then it'll go from not bothering you to where you're not even aware it's even happening. And then once you get to that stage, they abandon whatever it is, because there's no point in doing it anymore, because you're not even paying attention to them. So as long as you're paying attention to them, they're going to stick around. And the reason I was able to get rid of all that shit in my life was because I simply didn't entertain it anymore. And they tried to get my attention, tried to be more profound, and a lot of them wound up getting arrested, because now they became obvious to everyone else, including law enforcement officers. So keep these words of wisdom in mind.